Welcome to the Power Platform UX/UI Allies. So, of course, we're covering user experience, user interface design, and accessibility in Power Platform. And you're here with your hosts, so Anna Black, Kat Schneider, and myself, Charles or Charlie Sexton. We're a Microsoft group, so we follow the Microsoft Event Code of Conduct. So feel free to take a screenshot of that or watch it back. And if you have any issues, of course, there are some contact details for people to contact there, or you can get in touch with us, the organizers. So in the meeting today, we're just asking you to be kind to other people, essentially be welcoming, respectful, and considerate. Feel free to express your viewpoints. So it's nice to ask questions and to talk about things, but please be considerate and consider all sides of differences of opinion, respect other people having differences of opinion. If you want to ask questions, feel free to raise your hand and the speaker can decide if they want to answer the question on the spot or if we'll have questions and answers at the end. We also have a Q&A enabled for Teams, so feel free to use that. And yeah, finally, on that point, let us know what you want to hear about. So if you want to hear more of a particular topic, then please get in touch with us and let us know, and then we'll search out speakers who are talking about that. So yeah, we're recording the call. So if you don't want to be seen on the call, feel free to turn off your camera, but it's great if people can turn on their cameras. It's lovely to see people's expressions and to get to know each other. And from your career perspective, it's good for networking and it's good for getting your name and your face out there. So yeah, feel free to turn on your cameras, but please keep your microphones muted unless you need to talk. So we have a call for speakers and we can put that in the chat, hopefully. And yeah, feel free to submit. It doesn't matter if you're a new speaker or you're experienced. If it's related to user experience, user interface design, or accessibility in Power Platform, related in some kind of way, please feel free to submit your sessions. And on to the most interesting part of the show. We've got Haniel Croitoru and Diego Domingos da Silva, and they're talking about Power Vibing, unleashing Copilot intelligence across the Power Platform, and Diego talking about SharePoint Brand Center in real life, wins, fails, and everything in between. So it's going to be very interesting. So Haniel, feel free to take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charles. Can you guys hear me clear?
Hear you perfectly. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm just going to ask, so I only have a single screen. I cannot see the chat window. So if any questions do come up, feel free to just interrupt me and I'll try to answer the questions as quickly as I can.
Awesome, thanks.
So today I want to talk about something called Power Vibing. What is Power Vibing? Well, a lot of you probably heard about something called vibe coding, where the idea is that you can describe in text, write a prompt, and ask a platform to build code for you, to generate code and build applications. That is vibe coding. How do you use vibe coding in the Power Platform? And that's what Power Vibing is all about, and that's what I'm going to be taking you through today very, very quickly. So very briefly, so my name is Haniel Croitoru. I'm a director working for Protiviti in Canada. I act as an enterprise architect, came out of the SharePoint and Microsoft Teams space in the early days. And then ever since Power Platform became a thing, I never looked back and pretty much spent my entire time working in the Power Platform and also now AI. I love business process automation. I really love to simplify and literally automate everything possible. I look at today as an opportunity for us to just start connecting. So please scan my LinkedIn and let's continue the conversation after today. So I'm going to assume that everybody who's on the call has at least some experience with the Power Platform. And this is a UX and UI discussion. So I want to really talk about not just the application building part, but as a user, as a maker, how is this the new way going to impact you and make your life easier? So when we started building applications in the early days of the Power Platform, you could build a Power App essentially in a number of ways. There was something called build from data. So whether your data source was SharePoint, Excel, SQL, Dataverse, you could connect, or you can essentially connect to it and say, go and build an app for me, and you would get some default screens. View a list, create a new item, edit, delete, basic functionality. But it was fast, much faster than creating it from scratch. You also had the option to create from a template. So this is for those who are maybe not very experienced or don't have a lot of time or background to build a nice user interface. What this gave you is an option to have the nice front end, but then typically the back end would be some sort of an Excel workbook that you would have to either modify or replace all the connections and all the functionality with your real data source. So this was Power Apps in the older days. And then for Power Automate, again, you could build a Power Automate workflow from scratch, or you could use something called a template where there were thousands available, and they still are, based on the most common use cases. And you can say, okay, I want to build a Power Automate workflow that's going to do something for me. You then fill in some information to connect the different pieces together, and off you go with a new workflow. Now, fast forward to where we are today. So in the Power Platform, I mentioned Power Apps, Power Automate. With Power BI, you can do visualization. With Copilot Studio, you obviously built your agents that you can use in a number of places. And then we have Power Pages that's available for building websites. One layer underneath that, we have our data connectors, our AI hub to build models for processing. We have our Dataverse engine, and then we have expressions and managed environment, which are also making up the overall platform. Now, today, the beauty of the agents is that they have been added into a number of these applications. So essentially, all the main applications at the top have some level of Copilot built into them to help streamline how you work with them. And then also AI Hub and Dataverse have their own versions of Copilot to help you streamline how you work. Now, sitting on top of that, we have something called Plan Designer. And that is what I want to focus on today, which really helps you start your journey and kind of take you through it, building not an app, not a workflow, but an entire solution from start to finish. Okay. The Plan Designer is built out of 4 different agents. You've got your requirements agents, which will take your requirements, try to understand them, and from there define what is the personas and what are you actually trying to do. The process agent will then take the requirements and build out what are the key processes for the solution. Your data agent will help you build your Dataverse structure. And then your solution agent will actually help you build the specific applications that you need. Okay, so let's just jump right into a demo. And I'm going to ask Charles to give me about a 5-minute warning. So I'm not going to be running over time. So I'm going to start by, I'm just going to copy the prompts here. And the prompts are just regular prompts you'd be writing to any Copilot. I'm trying to keep them for a specific use case. So a couple of days ago, I was at a conference. It was in Branson, Missouri, which is known for lots of live music, performances, entertainment. So I said, you know what? I want to now build a solution which is going to be composed of a website where users, people in the public can go and register to an event. You want to have somebody on the back end who's going to be managing the events. And then once you're setting up the events, you want somebody who's in the field running logistics, setting up the venue to be able to access the key information from mobile app. And this is essentially the starting point of your Plan Designer. You essentially are telling it what it is you're trying to do. Okay, so what it's going to do now is it's going to take my prompt, and then sometimes, depending on how fast it is, within seconds, you can see it actually understand what is the business problem I'm trying to solve. So it's giving me the use case, and immediately it gave me a list of personas that are going to be used and what are the key tasks that they want to do. So it's taking that core information, that very basic prompt, and it's already trying to understand based on, remember, this is based on LLMs. It has these data models and historical information and says, oh, I'm trying to create a music event type system. It understands what's required. So it's actually adding a lot more details into these personas. So I can look at my personas. I've got my public user who's going to be searching for music events. They want to find them. They want to be able to register, receive confirmation. The person who's going to be managing the events, they're going to be running them on the back end. And then the logistics coordinator in the field is going to be viewing information on the mobile app. If this was all good, I would say it looks good and everything is fine. But in this case, I'm going to say, you know what? No, I think I want to actually add a requirement. I want a user to be able to also be deleting an event that they registered to. So I'm going to take a prompt here. I want the user to be able to cancel a registration. Okay. And I'm going to say that's good. I'm going to keep it. So what it's doing now, it's taking my requirements. I'm going to say this is good. So remember, the plan designer is made out of 4 agents. The first one is the requirements agent. The second one is the process agent. So it's now taking my requirements, and you can see how it's generating different processes for my solution. The process is not specifically relating to an application yet, but it gives you a general sense of what are the key activities that are going to be performed for each of the process. And I can, in a second, you'll see where I'll be able to actually go in, view those processes, and if I need to make any changes to them. I don't know if there's any questions so far. I'm just waiting for the processing to finish.
No questions so far, just me going crazy over plan designer over here.
Awesome. All right, so you can see here, I have 3 different processes defined. So let's look at the event discovery and registration. Okay, so in this case, you can see the different personas who are acting. Whoops, my mouse is going crazy. Okay, so user is going to be accessing the website. They're going to search for music events. They will filter by date, by genre, by whatever they want, select an event, and then it can initiate the registration. And this is all done by the user. They enter their name, and then the system will send them a confirmation if everything is good. If there's a problem, then the registration will be rejected, and then they need to need to re-register. Now, if I wanted to, I could, for example, go in here. I'm going to add another task, or I want to add another decision point. Take this one here. I'm going to add a condition. You can see how I can kind of map it out. And obviously, I have to give it instructions on what it is I want to do. Okay. I'm going to undo the changes, so I'm not going to confuse it. But that's the idea behind the second part, which is the process. So if I go back now, the next step is the data model. Let me have hit once too many times. No, the data model, I'm going to now hit edit. So again, I have the requirements, I have the process, it understands what I'm trying to do. It understands, based on my requirements and the process, what kind of data needs to be collected. So I'm going to go and take a peek at what this data model looks like. I'm going to say, you know what? I want to see, I'm going to edit the table. So just imagine Dataverse itself, how much time you would be spending building out tables manually, relationships, adding the fields, doing all of that, when this was built literally by just a simple prompt. And I didn't say anything about tracking an artist or having, an event coordinator, anything like that. I never mentioned that. It just built it for me.
But now, the other cool thing too, Haniel, don't forget, is it populates it with data.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. So here, let's say I'm going to go to my data agent and I'm going to say, you know what? I want to create another table. Actually, this artist I already have. It seems to remember my preference, so it's now stealing away my thunder, the agent that is. But I'm going to say, you know what? I want to know for each artist, I want to know their place of birth and the instrument that they play. So I'm going to give it the prompt, and you'll see in a moment it's going to go in here, and it's going to give me place of birth and main instrument. Now, if I look at the data, okay, so you can see I have some weird names, but you know what? I don't like this. This is kind of weird, like it's fake. So I'm going to say, this is not something I want. I'm going to add 20 real artists from around the world to the table. So one of the challenges that I personally always find is when I build these solutions, I start with empty Dataverse tables. And then I have to start mocking up all the data, relate it. Takes a lot of time. So yeah, so one of the beauty with this agent is I can actually tell it to go and find information. Now remember, it has access to the web, so it can go and find that information for me. So if I scroll down here, you will see I've got Shakira, Pop, right? She's from Colombia. We've got Ed Sheeran. We have people from all over the place, right? This in itself is very cool. Just having to find this information and populate it would take quite a bit of time. Including if I wanted to add relationships, I can even do those ones. So if I say I want to create a relationship between artist and event date, and I don't know if I have, no. Okay, so create a new table called events date that includes a single instance of. Challenge with this demo is every time it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So let's see if this is going to let me process it. Oh, it created a new table for me. Event date, it already related it to the artist. And I'm going to say, and it knows that it has to have a, where does this one go? Logistics coordinator. Okay, that's fine. So I'm now going to say I'm going to also relate the event table or the event date with the artist, because the artist is going to be appearing at a certain date. There may be additional artists or they may not be appearing every day. So again, I'm just going to let it run this prompt, and I'm going to say go ahead. Now you can see here that it created a many-to-many relationship, and it actually created a new table which manages that many-to-many relationship for me. I didn't ask it to do that, but it understands that whole part. So again, huge time saver. So I'm going to say this is good. I'm going to save it. Second here, call this brand center management. Yep, that's fine. So this is saved. Perfect. So now I'm in my model again. And this looks all good to me. So the next step is, I'm just going to give it a second here to finish processing. So what it does now is once I say the data looks good, now it takes the requirements, the process, and my data model, and it figures, okay, what are the actual applications I need? So remember, the public is going to be going through a website. So you can see I have a site, which is Power Pages. The event coordinator is going to be working in the office on a desktop using a model-driven app. The person in the field needs to have a mobile app. Canvas is really good for that, a Canvas app. Automated workflow for the registrations, spot on. And then the event logistics assistant, this is something I mentioned. I want the assistant, the agents to be able to, or the event coordinator to be able to ask an agent for information. So you can see how it actually created or identified what are the applications I need to build. So let's say if this is good now. I'm going to save the tables. So you'll see they're going to start turning green in a moment, which basically says gray just means that you've declared it, what it is you want it to be. Green says that now it has been generated, it has been built. So we'll give it a second here. There we go. So now my tables are built, all of those relationships. Now I can go into every one of those applications, and I'm going to just open them up all at the same time, just so that you can see what's going on here. How are we doing for time?
We can do 5 more minutes.
Perfect.
Fine.
Perfect. All right. So let's just look at, so Power Pages. First one. or not. Okay, there we go. No, that's major. So I'm going to say, okay, accept this for my Power Pages. And Teams bar is always in the middle. So you can see already it created a whole structure for me. I like the look of it. If I didn't like the look of it, what I could do is I could ask it to design something else. But in the interest of time, I'm going to take that, let that build it out for a second. Let's see, it's like a race is on. Let's see which one's faster. Which one's this? This is the Canvas app. It's generating it. Agent is probably not going to give me anything because I don't have the license. Yeah, so I'm going to skip over that one. But you can see for the model-driven app in a second, you'll see it come up, and it's literally ready to go. There's nothing I need to do on the model-driven app. It will have all the relationships, all the tables, everything I need in the model-driven app. You can see my data is in here, all of my there may be some fake registrations, but all that information is done. So you know what? I'm just going to publish it, and that's ready to go. The Canvas app should be coming up momentarily. So this one is also ready to go. The only thing is I'm missing some images here, but let me save that. If I click into it here, I'm going to say I want to see the events. So you can see I have the event information. This is for the person who's in the field. If I were to say, remember, I said I wanted this to work on a mobile phone. So this is actually using a layout that works on mobile or desktop. So again, it understood my requirements. It built something for me that I needed, which is beautiful. If I go to my workflow, okay, again, this is for the registration. You can see how it gave me the triggers, right? So this is not actually what I wanted, but I'm going to ask it to regenerate. Okay, in this case, it didn't understand what I wanted. It's giving me forms, which is not something I'm using. Not perfect. Keep in mind, this is AI. As I go back here, you can see that it's turning some of those into purple or into whatever the color is. If I go into my website, I'm going to say this is done. So it's building up the site. The workflow, I'm going to say, I'm going to keep that. Create the flow. Again, I'm just trying to go really quickly here to show you the process of the Plan Designer. This one is not perfect. Okay, I'm going to save this workflow. Website is still building. There we go. So you can see the whole website here. I'm going really, really fast, so apologies for that. But what I'm trying to show you is that if you notice, I've written zero code. I did not even use an interface to build these components. All I've been doing is adding prompts and hitting save, and literally building the entire solution like that. So I go back here, I should see probably another couple of things light up soon. There we go. My website is purple. My workflow in a moment should be turning. Oh, it's not liking something. That's fine. Okay, yeah, it doesn't have a form ID, so that one is not gonna. I'd have to fix this one. But as you can see, again, no code, no dragging and dropping. So this is going from Laurel code to no code at all, to just writing in English and telling it what I want to do. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing and open it up to any final questions.
We did get one question in here, Haniel, from Jitendra.
Yes.
It says, is it possible to include organization's theme and logo and utilize a component library within the environment from Plan Designer?
Great question. It's kind of actually funny. Somebody else asked me the same question. I have not I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, because my team is crashing as we speak. It might be possible. I haven't tried it. But if you were to give it a file as an input and be very descriptive of.
Oh, I wondered
And
if that would
there he
happen.
goes.
That's unfortunate.
I know I can answer some portion of this, but I'm not going to be able to answer it entirely. Is that not right now? And that's really all I can say on that matter.
But it's an obvious thing to want to include, isn't it? So
Exactly.
surely Microsoft are working on that.
Yeah, having the ability to include your organization's theme, your brand kit, if you will, have that included with Plan Designer is something that I think all of us that have been a part of the Plan Designer early access previews and even after early access previews, the continuing discussions with the product team, we've all been hollering about, hey, can you give us this?
Yeah, it should almost have like this design agent or something where you can fill all of that information and then you can prompt it to change the colors and so on. So
yeah,
hope it's coming.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
There he's back. I tried to finish for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it seems that it's best. So not sure how much you heard, but good question. And I didn't get a chance to try it yet with the branding guide. It is something I'm going to try out because people have asked me before. What I'm guessing is as long as you have a document like a branding guide that is descriptive enough, I would not be surprised that in Power Amp and Power Pages, it may be able to apply some of it. I would not expect anything in model-driven apps or Copilot Studio or Power Automate.
Yeah, I would try, like, if you have a brand guide, like, document, to put it in as one of the attachments when you go to generate the first initial plan. So, like, I believe you can add multiple attachments now.
Yes.
So including that as one of the attachments when you go to create your initial plan, that may be a way for you to influence the theming, if you will, of what gets generated.
Yeah, you probably have to. You're right, Kat. I agree with you, but I think you probably have to tell it because just giving it a file and say, "Here's a file." I think you'd have to be descriptive to say, use the fonts from this guide, use the colors from the guide. Which ones are primary, which ones are secondary. Even things like this application will be used for accessibility, people with accessibility, right? So make sure that the color scheme will have high contrast, larger fonts, all of those things. So again, I haven't tried it. Would be a fun experiment though.
As far as I'm aware, the Canvas app, you can't really change anything on it. Is that right?
What do you mean?
You can change the data behind it, but you can't change anything about the design of it with your prompts.
Oh, the prompts.
Oh, yeah.
It's set in stone, isn't it?
As far as prompting, yes. But I believe once you actually have it generated, you should be able to use Copilot to help you build it out. Like you can prompt the Copilot there in the Canvas editor.
Yeah.
To kind of help.
Yeah, but it hasn't changed since they first released it, which suggests that they're not really that interested in the Canvas app, but they're working on something outside of that.
They're all in on model-driven.
A lot of focus on model-driven, and if you look about some of the more recent announcements that Copilot Studio is the new user interface, right? Like you don't need, they're talking about in the future ERP and CRMs are all going to be agents. There will be no interface. Like I don't know. Tell an accountant not to look at a spreadsheet. Tell them to look.
Microsoft.
Yeah. So God forbid, listen to what we have to say. Anyways, I'm a few minutes over time. I'm sorry, but this was great. I don't know if you have any other final questions before we pass it over to Diego.
Yeah, I think we're good for there. If anyone has any questions, they can put them in the chat. But yeah, that was really cool to see. Thank you for the demo. It's always nice to have a live demo as well. So thank you for taking the risk.
Thank you.
All right, Diego, take it away.
All right, thank you. Speaking of risks and speaking of full-on live demo, off I go. Talk to the Power
Good
Platform.
Let's go, Diego. I don't know.
Yes,
if you guys know or
talking to the
not.
Power Platform UI UX user group, which is, anyway. My name is Diego Silva. I'm based in Miami. I'm a newly crowned, as you wish, to say, Microsoft MVP. But I've been in this space since 2009, been in tech for longer than I can remember. But yeah, so I've been like, in this space since 2009, working in SharePoint when SharePoint was still not very pretty. It is very pretty now. And over the years, one of the questions that I always got was how to make SharePoint not look like SharePoint, right? And one of the things that I've been really liking to deploy over the past 2 or so years is the Brand Center for SharePoint. So let me just jump in directly into the presentation. I can show exactly how that works, because it's exactly about the same brand kit and a way to seamlessly push this logos and interface to your users from a central location. So this is something I am really excited to always talk about. So here we go. All right, you guys can see my face, my screen, right?
Yes.
All right. So I only have one screen, so please, speak up if you have any questions. So this is your typical like SharePoint site. You have like your web parts here, blah, blah, blah. In order to customize it, you come here on change the look. And that's where you choose like your theme and, font, header, and all that. Theme particular used to be very difficult to customize, because you had to create all this JSON file and do it all via PowerShell. But Microsoft has recently introduced Brand Center, which is something really, really cool, because you can designate that as the center repository for all your brand content, and will allow your users to pick this information from a drop down, and a lot easier than it is right now, or than it used to be. So let me jump straight into the admin center to show how you're going to first set up your brand center. Okay, so you're going to go to your M365 admin center, and this can only be done by a global admin. In my case, it's already set up here, but if it wasn't set up, all you have to do is you come to your settings, org settings, and then right here you have brand center, and here you basically hit generate site. Like it will already give you the brand guide as a suggested name for the site. It doesn't really matter what it's called, because what matters is really the functionality. But with this created, it'll take you to a site like this, and then you're going to look at this site and you're going to be like, what the heck, looks the exact same thing. What exactly did I do that is going to be so revolutionary? So first thing, the brand center app is actually going to be within that site. So if you come here to site settings, you'll see right there a link to Brand Center, which is then going to be this page right here. But I'm going to go back one level, because I want to show you what I do at first. What I like to do is, once this is customized, I actually go and I change the homepage of the site. And I'm just going to make this a default page. Boom. Done. And now I have a brand center site that looks something like this. Okay. So once that is customized, once that is created, I start adding a number of libraries that will contain all my brand kit content. Okay. So the brand center is more than just the app. As much as Microsoft keeps saying, oh, you can customize all this stuff in the Brand Center app, there's more stuff. So I'll get to that in a second. So let's first explore the actual Brand Center app. So I'll come here, and it's the same app that I showed it to you. You're going to have your brand fonts. So from here, you can upload all your custom fonts that are going to be available throughout SharePoint. This can only be done by a site owner, because of course fonts can contain viruses. So this is something that only a site owner can configure. So they'll be able to come here, upload all the fonts, and that's pretty much what you do in this portion right here. Then on the right side, you have the space for brand colors. So again, here is where you're just going to start adding all your corporate colors one by one. You gave them a title, and that's pretty much it. Right now, we don't even, it's a little limited in a way, because right now we don't even have the option to delete one of them. All you can do is make them visible or not visible. But you got your colors in. Again, you're done with that part as well. Now here is where things start to become a little more fun. So now that you have the font and the colors, now you can come in here and create your brand that works for both SharePoint and Vivo Connections. So let's go in SharePoint first. So SharePoint, first thing you want to do is you want to configure your font packages. So I already have one configured here. I'm going to configure another one. So I can either click here or on that guy. So my new font package, I say I want for my display font, and you guys forgive me because this is not going to look really pretty. Let's say I'm going to do this guy in. There we go. So let's use these two, and then now I start picking like, oh, what I want for like my my titles, headline, again, everything from the SharePoint interface. So you no longer have to do this from like a PowerShell script or anything like that. So you start picking all these styles. Again, I'm just choosing something at random just to go fast. And then you gave this font package a name. So this is a preview of what it's going to look like. So I'm going to say demo user group. Whether it's visible when people customize their sites, I'll show that in a second as well. And I will hit save. Okay, so now I have two different font packages. So as I said, you can access them by simply coming here. And let me just refresh the page to make sure you picked up the changes. There you go. Now I'm going to go and I'm changing the look. And under font, you have available font packages. And boom, these are the two that I created. So Demo UG and Unsubcams in 365, which is the one I had previously created. And then the default ones from Microsoft. That's it. The fonts are directly readily available on any site. You can basically preview them. And of course, they don't look good because I just make something hideous, but you get the idea. So I get my fonts now that can be served throughout all the SharePoint sites in the tenant. So there's more. So now I also have themes, okay? So within themes, it's where I can configure all the different colors that you see here under change the look. There, theme. So this is the theme that I created. I created one based off on the colors of Microsoft logo. You have the default ones already that you have from SharePoint. But let's say I want to create something specific for a department instead of having the users poking around and doing everything. You can create them all from the Brand Center. So from here, I have this package. I can preview what it will look like. But let me go back and let's create one from scratch. Okay, so now I'm going to go create a theme. I'm going to add the colors. And again, from these colors available here are the ones that I chose in the beginning. So let's say I want something that will have green. And I want another combination. Let's say I want green and blue. The other thing to keep in mind is it'll tell you right away if there's not enough contrast. So accessibility, you know it immediately if you're not choosing a good combination of colors. In my case, I didn't. Let's try something else. Let's delete this guy. And let's just add just simply gray and something like yellow. Maybe my colors are not being really good today, but you get the idea. Okay, let's just do something with just gray, okay? Then I can just review the two different themes that I'm going to have, one for like low contrast and the one which is like your dark theme version of that. So you have these two. And again, I'm going to call this just gray. Okay, and also here you also can choose whether it's going to be visible in the list of themes right here. Again, you can be a lot more creative. I'm just going really fast so I can cover everything that I want you here. So now I have my two themes But then there's more. Click.
Diego, we did have a quick question.
Sure.
Does Brand Center require global admin rights to provision?
Yes. That's the only thing. There are two things that you're going to need global admin. One is, you need global admin. Yes. The second one, you can do both as a global admin or as a SharePoint admin, and I'm going to get to it in a second. But basically from here, you have all the themes that you have configured. And let's say I want to add this guy, and I'm going to hit next. So these are all there. Now I'll go back here. So the one thing that you will notice is that even though it says Viva Connections branding and SharePoint branding, it looks the exact same thing. Okay, so whatever you create for one is going to be visible in both. I have not understood yet why they're differentiated this. Maybe at some point they're gonna break those down. But these are, two squares. You can do the same exact thing in both. So as far as the brand center colors and font, this is kind of it. Okay, it's more a matter of you playing out with them, making sure that they match the corporate fonts that you want. But it's all basically in here. So now, see if I'm forgetting one thing. Let me see. Yeah, correct. So, okay. So I'm done with this. Now I'm going to go back to the homepage of the Brand Center because I want to show also one thing that I find that is really cool and it's not widely used. So besides the Brand Center, this site can also serve as your organization asset library. So what that means is this is also where you can upload all the logos, pictures, templates, and fonts, not the fonts for SharePoint now. Now this is also where you can add your fonts for Word and PowerPoint on the web, as well as photos and document templates that will be available through Microsoft Office. But make sure that you are in the latest version of Office, because if you're using like semi-annual channel, I don't think they have been rolled out to those yet. So let me show you here real quick what these libraries look like. Let me just go to site contents. So I have several libraries here. Forget about Clipchamp for a second. I'll talk about that briefly later. But let's say I have one that is basically my list of logos, simple picture library or document library rather. You just upload your photos to it. Make sure that they're not above 10 megabytes. Make sure that the names are properly formatted, and that's pretty much it. Same thing in my case. I created one image library called logos, another one called photos. Photos, it's basically, let me show you here so you can understand. It's just basically a bunch of like random pictures of my cats and my friends' animals that I took over the years. Okay, nothing special about this. But once you designate these libraries, you can then via PowerShell, and that's where you're going to need admin permissions for SharePoint. You can designate these libraries to be marked as the official image and document libraries, template libraries for your tenant. So in my case, I have one library with logos. I have one library with photos. I have another library, which is my templates. So these are like just random, my generic PowerPoint and Word templates. I'll get to those in a second. And also web fonts. So here's a bit of a catch too, because those fonts that you uploaded earlier for SharePoint are not the same fonts that are going to be used through all Microsoft Office apps, okay? So those fonts are going to be uploaded here. You can upload the same exact one, but just keep in mind there are two spots that you need to upload them to. So with that all created, the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go via PowerShell, and these are basically the lines that you run. Like you're just going to add org assets library. You're going to give the URL of the library, indicate like if it's a font, and then the org asset type, and all of this is on Microsoft Learn. So I'm not going to go through explaining what the content of the the PowerShell command is, but basically you connect the SharePoint Online, designate these, and in the case of the document library, in the case of the picture libraries, you're also going to say that they are Copilot searchable. You're going to flag them as true. Catch that in a second as well. So now with the photos, with everything uploaded to the site, first thing I want to do is, let's say I'm going to edit my old homepage of the site, and I want to edit a picture. Okay. So now, after I designated them as the main image library for the site, I'm going to go here and, or actually within the section. There you go. And I'm going to add an image, and you're going to see that now I'm going to see your organization. So under your organization, all the image libraries that I designated via PowerShell to be the official repository will show up here. So all my logos from the old library are here. And oops. And if I go back, your organization, all the photos from the cats and pets, mostly cats, are also available here. Okay. So these are now available to be consumed throughout all the SharePoint sites in your tenant, making sure, however, that whenever the site is created, it will be created with public permission, so everyone in your organization can see them. So make sure that you don't change that. But from that point on, all the images that are here and all the logos and whatever other image libraries that you indicate will forever be available under your organization, which is an option that you didn't have in SharePoint before. So that is it for the images. But one more thing also that is worth noting. Before these photos, and let me just go back to the regular view. These photos used to have a tag field, which was just a text field. Okay, now this tag has changed to manage metadata. So not only it's manage metadata, but now the image tags are also generated via AI. So if I go and if I check details for this image, you see here a field called image tag. So these are automatically populated via Copilot. But you have to, and that's something I was not able to do prior to the session today, you have to set up Azure Pay-as-you-go for your tenant. And the reason why is because these image tags are the ones that Copilot are going to be looking into whenever you are asking about these photos from Microsoft Office apps. And I'm going to show you that right now, because that's really another fun part about the image library. So let's say I'm going to come here. There's a brand new presentation that's saved in my tenant, and I'm just going to ask Copilot, add a photo of a cat from brand images. Fingers crossed. There we go. So these are the photos that you guys saw earlier. Or add photo of an L from brand. I'm still playing around with understanding what exactly commands you can give to Copilot, but it's been very, very generous, if you will, because it's been responding to everything. There you go. That was the only picture that I have of an elephant in there. What images are available in my brand library? Anyway, you guys get the idea. So from that point on, you can start interacting with Copilot. See, right now it didn't work. Anyway, from that point on, you can start interacting with Copilot, and Copilot will be pulling those images directly from your SharePoint site. But there's also one more cool thing. Within the brand guide, you have hey, this thing stays on the way. You also have this library of templates that I told you, right? So these library of templates, again, I'm going to tell Copilot that this is my official library of templates. And what will happen is when you come to PowerPoint, and keep in mind that there's like 50 versions of getting into PowerPoint now, but when you come into PowerPoint, if you come in from the M365 Copilot page, you're going to see this. This is my tenant. These are those two templates that you see, not here. that you see here. And likewise, if I go to Word, it's not supposed to do that, but let's see. If I go New, Browse Templates, I haven't cached this, so it might take a second, but you get the idea. It'll be showing the same way a new Word template, the same way that you see here in PowerPoint. But there's also one more cool thing. So I covered the templates in both Word and PowerPoint. I covered the images, but you can also do one more cool thing, which is, and again, this is not going to populate correctly, okay? But just to show you, there is a PowerPoint, what is it called? Copilot PowerPoint starter template. This has been around since November 2024. I don't know how this hasn't been really fully published or if it hasn't been announced. I barely saw anything about it, but I just learned about this. And what you do is basically, I'm starting a new presentation, and let's say I'm going to clear this chat, and I'm going to say create a presentation from, oops. Chris now is not doing. That's cool. Oh. Of course. Create new presentation. It'll take a second. Sorry, my internet's slow. That's right from here. Sorry, I'm being impatient, you guys. I'm looking at the time.
You forgot to sacrifice to the demo gods this morning.
I know,
Diego.
I know. I promise you it works.
Yep. Definitely should have sacrificed.
The second I hit refresh, this is going to do something. So I'm not going to.
What about command refresh or command F5?
It's just my internet. Florida, you guys, don't move here.
Lies. Actually, no. Florida's closed. Don't move here.
Let's see if I do this again. If I just close these guys.
And with that, thank you, Diego, for coming on our show today.
It'll show up eventually, but what will happen here is you create a new presentation, and then at the bottom you're going to have a drop down that you get to actually pick. Choose images from Microsoft generic images or from your brand images. So from by having your templates and your images in your brand center, you actually able to create now your customized presentations using your own template and using your corporate images. So what I will do is, since this is not loading now, I am going to just preview this or create this, right? Let's see from here if it'll do it. Bet you will. Yeah, no, it's just going slow.
It said nope. Not today.
Yeah. Okay. But there you go. Okay. Finally, create a slide about what I want. I don't want a slide. I don't want a new presentation. Create a presentation about cats. Okay.
Wait, you're going to create a presentation about me now?
Yes, about cats and how fun they are. Okay. There you go. So now it's going to do the presentation. It's going to generate ideas. Give it a second. It was just me being impatient. See. There you go. Okay, so now I got my presentation. There you go. Now this is what I wanted to show you. So now that you have the whole presentation, here is the image settings. Do I want only the ones from Microsoft Content Library? So these are basically the stock photos that you're used to seeing all over SharePoint that you're probably getting tired of by now, or the images from your organization's brand library. Now here's the catch. Microsoft's recommendation is to have 1,000 images in that brand library. So I have not been able to gather so many images, so many of my pictures of cats, because I don't want to like run into any copyright issue. So, you know, I'm accepting donations. Please send it my way. But basically from here, I'm going to hit generate new presentation. Again, this is not going to generate properly because the tags here are incorrect. Oh, I remember the last thing I had to say. I know we're out of time, but just real quick. So now it'll basically generate the presentation. It'll use all the images from your brand guide. But what it'll base on these image tags, which are AI generated. Personal experience. Make sure to review these image tags, because I had this in my organization and some of these tags were offensive. Okay, it was images of people and it had tags like sexy and stuff like that. So make sure that you know that you're not gonna have like something that's going to look controversial. Make sure that you review everything that you do here. And finally, okay, there you go. Open presentation. See, it didn't add the photos, but it will once this is connected. But finally, one last thing that I wanted to say is this. If I go to site contents, Clipchamp, I added Clipchamp here, even though Clipchamp is not interacting with it, but I also use this brand guide because if you have the enterprise version of Clipchamp, you have the ability of using a brand kit. So I also use this site, since everything is already stored in here, I use this site also to upload my Clipchamp brand kit. That way I can share with everyone and I point everyone, hey, go to that library to get the brand kit for your videos in Clipchamp. Final thoughts. My wish is that because all the brand colors and all the brand images are here, it will be amazing if, and I'll stop sharing, it'll be amazing if our platform kind of takes a hint and also gets their colors and images from there. So it's not like a completely separate world. Do I know anything about it? No, but that's really my wishful, Christmas gift, if you will. So
I think that's
with that,
many people's wishes.
I might have already posted that up in the chat.
Yeah, I think all the questions have been answered, right? But if anyone has anything, please let me know. I'm happy to connect via LinkedIn and all. Just look for the announcement via the LinkedIn group. And thank you guys.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? So
sure,
on
of course.
The image tags, does it have to be AI generated or can you populate it yourself?
Amazing question. So when they were tags not, but now it's all managed metadata. So AI would generate a bunch of tags, and the cool thing is whatever tags that you add, if an image gets re-added, user entered tags will not get removed. So yes, you can add your own as well on top of that. Another thing that helps, there's another column that uses the location, and those are from the geo tagging from your camera. So those two are also marked in there, and Copilot uses everything in order to index the images and to pull the correct content to your document. Again, like you can go very specific with the tagging, with the logos and all that, and Copilot is doing a really good job because it's just a single library. As long as you make sure that do not put too many, like don't put repetitive files, or don't put files that like multiple versions of the same file rather, and don't use any like overly large files, like no more than 10 megabytes. Also because you don't want a PowerPoint presentation that will require like many
785 gigabyte
right.
presentation.
Right. You've probably had that as a speaker where you've been given a template file that is massive. Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, could y'all maybe help out your speakers here and reduce the size of your images before you send us the templates?
If only.
Thank you, Diego. That was
Of course.
fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.